more empathy for you and your story, and to be more intrigued by, you know, where you're going, what your trajectory is. And I think just my intention for us sitting down is not only to talk about what happened in 1999.
You have said since really right after the shooting that it was P. Diddy who shot you. I mean, I think you even said it to the doctor that night, right?
I said it immediately. I literally watched them.
How you feel about her coming out now saying that, you know, Diddy, he shot her and not Sean? How you feel about that?
Well, the way I feel about that, the case is closed, bro. It can't be no double jeopardy. It can't be no retrial.
All right, y'all, don't I have some juice for you? P. Diddy is catching major smoke again, as more of his alleged victims are still speaking out on his rumored freaky lifestyle that has the whole world at a standstill. Natania Reuben, one of his alleged victims, has come out of the shadows and is spilling major tea on the incarcerated celebrity. And get this, his ex-lover, Jennifer Lopez, is in the middle of all this drama. Natania is not holding back, as she is determined to get justice for herself and for others just like her. So what really went down? Don't fret. We have all the juicy details lined up for you. Picture this. It's back in the 90s. Puff's Bad Boy Records is thriving like crazy. His career is probably at its epitome. The extremely talented Jennifer Lopez is also all over the news, catching her big break all over. She's basically a jack of all trades, with both her singing and acting career going amazing for her. And then these two top shots decide to fall in love. Ain't that something? You already know this news shook the whole of Hollywood. Man, everyone was talking about this power couple.
So I'm holding like this. Then I look up and I look into her eyes, and I just fell in love from right then and there. It was just like the first time I fell in love, like love at first sight.
He was larger than life, but at first I didn't like him at all.
Although JLo initially denied her involvement with Diddy in a number of interviews, it soon became crystal clear that the two had decided to give love a try. The two had worked together before, working on many projects side by side, with JLo making appearances in Diddy's music videos and Puff doing the same to JLo's videos. It didn't take long for rumors about their alleged romantic relationship to spread like wildfire, and the two publicly came out at the 1999 MTV Video Music Awards, VMAs, walking hand in hand at the event.
Things started to happen. I started looking into her eyes more, spending more time with her, and I just fell in love with her.
To have somebody who by your side who understands what you're going through, and at the end of the day doesn't need anything from you except to love you.
The power couple seemed to have everything going good for them. Just imagine the fame, the fortune, all of it. They were the envy of everyone, with their names plastered all over the tabloids. Dang, they had no idea what was going to hit them terribly. In the same year, the two lovebirds' relationship hit a very rocky patch, one that they simply couldn't get through. Diddy and his hun were arrested in connection to a shooting that happened in a New York club they were partying at. The star's fairy tale life turned into a horror flick way too quick.
But Lopez walked away, saying she was going home. As she was being detained, a gun was discovered in the vehicle. At that point, a sergeant on the scene ordered everyone who was in the vehicle under arrest. The officer quotes Lopez as saying, "It's not my gun."
Now here's the gist. The two were later arraigned in court and went through a trial in 2001, and they miraculously missed out on prison, beating all the claims brought against them. Their relationship never recovered from this hitch, with both of them going their separate ways. But the big question in everyone's mind is, how did these two people walk out of the courtroom unscathed? Despite all the conclusive evidence brought against them in court, the two still escaped the law by a whisker. Well, let's break this all down as we try to get to the bottom of this juicy story. Now here's where the plot gets even wilder. The woman who was allegedly shot in the face by Puff has never gone silent ever since she recovered from the incident. That's right, Natania Reuben has been an avid advocate for Diddy's alleged victim, going on various interviews to tell her story in the wake of the social media era. So what actually went down back in the Y2K? Don't worry, we have all the deets for you.
During the trial, people have this misnomer. I see people try to gaslight survivor victims online. You know, there's this whole, well, why didn't you say anything back then?
Well, Natania is definitely not a woman to play with, as she is singing like a canary 25 years later. She narrates that dreaded day in an interview interview with The Art of Dialogue, where she gets extremely emotional that she even breaks down to tears. Natania describes the day's details to the letter, saying she pulled up to the club with her friends wanting to have a good time like it was the norm. She says that she had literally accepted Jesus not so far back before that, so everyone was cracking jokes, asking her what she was doing pulling up to the club. The jokes were harmless banter, and she clarified that she was just there to help promote her friend Stacy.
I can say that I was relatively popular, and I knew so many people out there. And everybody kept saying, Ab, what you doing here? I thought you was in the church. I thought you, what you coming to preach a sermon? You know, people were making jokes and stuff like that. And I thought it was funny. We laughed. And I was like, no, I'm just out here chilling. I had decided against going initially because I'd gotten saved, so I wasn't really out and about. But my girlfriends were like, come on, come on. One of our girlfriends, her name is Big Stacy. She's a party promoter in the New York City area. And I decided, you know, I'm gonna go to support Stacy because we're friends and we supported each other in our endeavors.
But here's the crazy part. Natania says her radar first went off when they were pulling up to the club. She claims that she saw 2 ambulances parked at a corner near the club, which kinked her curiosity. I know y'all agree that ambulances at a club are just very sus, but not for Diddy. Mr. Sean Combs has previously been caught on camera claiming that people will have to leave his parties in ambulances, something he seems to have meant literally. The disgraced mogul basically told on himself. Quite fishy indeed.
We pull up to the block and there are 2 ambulances at the front of the block as you turn the corner, halfway in the street and halfway on the sidewalk on each side, narrowing the stream of traffic to 1 lane. Because I had never, ever seen that at a club or at this club. And it just stood out as so weird to me. My friends were like, I had just gotten saved, so they were like, oh, come on, hallelujah, don't start with all that. You know, making their jokes, you know how it is.
Diddy has said this. He said, when I give a party, I have to have an ambulance outside of the house. Paramedics ready.
Natania and her party finally get let into the club, and a female bouncer, Sharice Myers, was the one who searched her bag. She apparently found a hair comb in Natania's bag, and you won't believe what happened next. Shanice threw a fit, saying that the comb was a weapon and that she couldn't bring it into the club. A comb? Honestly? Natania complied and left the comb, but what shocked her was that some people were walking into the club without getting a search performed. She almost got denied access because of a hair comb.
But people keep telling me they heard him mention Sharice Myers. Sharice Myers was a security guard, the female security. When I was entering the club, she went into my bag, she's searching bags, she wrestled the comb out of my bag and said, you can't bring this in, this is a weapon, and then proceeded to let 2 celebrities in with weapons. A female security named Sharice Myers, who was found out that she lied and committed fraud and all this stuff. When I was walking in, she checked my bag and she's like, you can't bring this in here, this is a weapon. It was a comb, a hair comb, a rat tail comb.
And that's not all. Natania claims that everyone in Diddy's company was subjected to a search apart from him and his boo JLo, who apparently just casually walked in. The preferential treatment screamed red flag, and Natania wasn't happy with that. She, however, maintained her cool and ended up meeting a friend of hers, Scar, who they indulged in a casual conversation with. But y'all, all hell broke loose soon after that.
She made such a big to-do about this comb, took it out of my bag, yet you allow 4 people or 3 people to come in with guns. Like, make it make sense. So we get in the club, she takes my comb, she makes this big scene, we get in the club.
Diddy's party apparently walked into the club soon after, and the club was popping. You know how crazy it gets when a celebrity makes an appearance somewhere? This was beyond that. Everyone was hyped up, and the club was full to the brim. As Diddy and his crew hustled to move through the crowd, one of the bodyguards apparently pushed a bit too hard, elbowing Scar, pouring his drink all over his face. A scuffle ensued after that, as you might have presumed, and one of Scar's friends allegedly ended up slapping one of Puff's entourage in his face with a wad of cash. Talk about ballsy.
They bumped into Scar's back. Now, Scar's back was to the walkway, so he couldn't see who was coming. He was facing the bar, his back was to the walkway. As they came through, they pushed him, and his drink went in his face. They said whatever they said, and then one of the guys that was with Scar, apparently Puffy gestured in some type of way that they didn't like, and one of the guys that was with Scar slapped him in the face with a wad of money.
Everything went south soon after that. In the middle of all this scuffle, Natania says she noticed Shine and Diddy backing up, supposedly looking like they were reaching for a gun at their waists. Never in her whole life would she have predicted what would happen next. The 2 stars pulled out Glocks and fired the guns. She watched them literally pull the triggers. She says Diddy's bullet hit her straight in between her eyes, just at her nose, and she watched the whole thing go down in horror. Mad, right?
And then I see I hear the raised voices and I see Shine and Puffy start backing back. Now, we don't all watch the Hood movie or whatever. We know what it looks like when people are backing back and reaching from their hip to pull. So as they were backing back, they were drawing from their hip. I got hit right here, in my nose, in between my eyes, which means I'm facing directly at you. Just like I'm looking at you and I can tell you got on black shades. They kind of look like Cazelles and an Adidas shirt. That's exactly how I was looking at him. And I watched him shoot me.
Now y'all can imagine the kind of chaos that followed after the shots. Everyone scattered from the scene, and Diddy and his party were later arrested in connection to this. 3 bystanders were allegedly injured, with Natania being one of them. Diddy, JLo, Shine, among others, denied all the claims, saying they did not shoot anyone at the club. The story just keeps getting even messier. You may be wondering, where does Jennifer Lopez come in all of this? Well, Natania believes that JLo must have been the one who sneaked Diddy's Glock into the club. This accusation may seem crazy, with so many people coming out to say that JLo doesn't swing like that, but other fans believe it is the only valid explanation. JLo was basically Diddy's mule, carrying the gun for her BAE, a real trap queen, some might say.
The only 2 people that were not searched were Puffy and JLo. And anybody from the neighborhood, the hood, the whatever understands from thug movies, when guys don't, if a guy presumes himself to be searched, he gives it to the woman to hold.
I've been around Miss Lopez a few times, more than a few times. You understand what I'm saying? She did not rock like that. She don't get down like that, bro. Not at all. She wouldn't be carrying no gun for no Puffy. Not at all.
And here's the wildest part. There is evidence that apparently affirms these claims. One of the drivers who was sitting outside came out and gave his side of the story, which shocked the whole industry. He alleges that he was out in his car waiting when he saw a silver Navigator fly past him with the cops in tow. He continues saying he watched as one of the back windows was lowered down and a skinny, light-skinned hand threw a gun through the window. And guess where the gun landed? Right on top of the hood of the driver's car, like a perfectly wrapped gift.
A gentleman sitting in his car, he was a driver for escorts. He said he watched the Navigator fly down the block and the rear passenger window opened and a slim, light-skinned white hand threw a gun out of the car and it landed out of the window and it landed on top of his car. That's in the original documents and everything, in the trial transcript and everything. I don't know why they let JLo off. They tried to flip her, the cops said, and make her a witness.
So here's where JLo gets in the mix, apparently for tampering with evidence by ditching the gun. The driver called his boss after that and told him what had happened and gave the gun to him. The boss later called the police and handed the gun to them, which was used as evidence. JLo was released soon after they were all arrested, facing no charges at all. And we wonder why. How did she escape without any charges? JLo is looking like an accessory to the alleged crime. How did she walk scot-free?
I saw this Navigator, being chased by the cops and somebody lowered the back window and threw a gun out and it landed on my car. He gave the gun to his boss, who then, within a day or so, started seeing the news coverage and gave the gun to the police. JLo brought the gun in and then threw it out.
Well, it seems the scandal was far from over. The other main issue was about Diddy's and JLo's mugshots. The shots were taken after their arrest, the same night the shootings took place. Now here's the juice. In the mugshots, Puff and his BAE are dressed in very raggedy-looking t-shirts, raising our suspicions even higher. And Natania didn't hesitate to point this out. She claims that there's no way in the world those two stepped out and hit the club dressed in those ratty clothes. It just doesn't make any sense. It reeks of a cover-up, and many fans are leaning towards Natania's opinion even more.
Puffy's in front of a concrete wall, JLo is in front of a bulletin board in some old t-shirts. Now, I want everyone to think that was the night of the shooting. You don't think at Christmas time, Puffy and JLo went out in some old raggedy t-shirts, right? No.
Did someone slip the old shirts to the celebrities while in custody? Did the moguls have someone on the inside? The contentious mugshots just raise even more complex questions, making us wonder if they all escaped this unscathed because of their influence and the stacks in their pockets. In the wake of these new interviews, many of the brave victims like Natania and Cassie have gotten the platform to give their 2 cents on what actually went down. Cassie's video brought the world to a storm, with many people finally seeing Diddy for the monster he allegedly is. Here's the deal. A lot of people have caused an uproar all over social media, outwardly doubting the credibility of the alleged victims' stories. A lot of fans took to social media claiming that Natania and the rest only want a payout out of this.
I was a mother. I didn't go out and shoot anybody. I didn't go out and commit a crime, and I deserve to be made whole. Why are so many people so hard pressed? Well, she got to get some money. Why they hating so much? Meanwhile, you out here, you governing the life of someone who was victimized by someone who committed a crime, our community members who have done nothing wrong. Why are you standing up for a criminal who hurt people that did nothing wrong and didn't deserve it? That is why our communities continue to have such decline and moral degradation.
Well, this is just sick, as this just silences the truth in the background. A lot of people are claiming that Natania and the rest of the people like her are milking this for all it's got, basically trying to catch a big break from all this attention. This might not be entirely false, but claiming these women are lying about what happened, that might just be a new low. Natania claims all this is just a ploy to try to distract the world from the truth, and that she didn't make all this noise before because social media wasn't a thing back in the day. Straight out gaslighting the alleged victims, if you ask me.
I had one lady say, well, why she ain't make posts about it back then? Why she ain't put it on her social media back then? Hello, dum-dum. I got shot 24 years ago. There was no social media. No social media existed in 1999. I was viral before there was a social media. That's why I've always had a love-hate relationship with social media.
I absolutely did. I was the star witness for the trial. I told the EMT. I told my sister who I called from the hospital. I told the doctors. I told the surgeon. I told everybody what happened to me and who did it. Puffy shot me in the face.
On top of that, she adds that she had to move away from her hometown, a place she loved and had already settled her whole life around there. Heck, she even had businesses she ran, but she up and left after the incident, allegedly fearing for her life. Now, why would someone who is allegedly making up stories for the money and the fame abandon all her life's worth over a lie? The juice on this scandal is just mad insane. I know y'all are wondering how, with all this outstanding evidence, these celebrities escaped jail time. Natania claims that Diddy's influence and money cleaned up everything for him. She claims everyone lacks integrity, basically concluding that anyone can be bought at a good price. She claims Diddy and JLo must have had some people on the inside on their payroll who worked hard to bury all this. She even brings up a separate incident where a police officer was fired for slipping a phone to Diddy while he was in police custody. Seems Puff knows some people in high places.
They admit that Derek Parker was kicked out of the hip hop police because he slid Puffy a cell phone while he was in the jail cell in Midtown North.
Oh, sorry, correct. But so why didn't Puffy and JLo get the proper, conviction?
Because their money is super long and people love adjacency to fame, celebrity. People are willing to sell their integrity for $1.
And that's not all. She made an even more insane claim, saying she believes there was video evidence of her getting in the club. Crazy, right? She believes that Diddy must have paid a lot of money to have that videotape disappear. Well, he allegedly paid $100,000 to sync the Cassie video, so it won't even come as a shock if Natania's allegations actually hold weight. All these allegations just raise more eyebrows, making us wonder how much more Puff might have gotten away with, and how many more influential celebrities have used their position and power to basically bend the law.
Where would he come from to tap me in the back and say, come with me? Why would you tap me? You want to know why he tapped me? How did you know it was me through everybody? You want to know why he knew it was me? Because clearly they saw me on a surveillance system. You had to. How would you know it was me out of everybody? They have wealth and access to power and tentacles that stretch all through society. They can do what they want to you. The powers that be. They can do what they want to you if they so choose. And they're connected to enough people that can make your life a hell. Trust me, I've been there. I've walked through the fire, but guess what? No matter what they do, I'm a child of God. I didn't walk through the fire. I do not smell like smoke. I don't smell like smoke.
He paid $100,000 to make that tape disappear. I would assume that doesn't surprise you.
No.
How much of that do you think has been going on over the past 25 years?
A ton of it.
Okay.
A ton.
Well, it seems the twists and turns just keep coming. Charisse, who worked as a security guard at the club in which the shooting went down, gave a contradictory statement on the witness stand that had everyone in an uproar. She apparently denied ever talking to Diddy after the incident, but her phone records paint a completely different story. The records show she had a 3-minute conversation with Diddy in January the next year. And that's not even the wildest part. Charisse claims she fell on Diddy after the shots were fired in the club, and that she didn't feel any gun on him. The prosecutors tore this up like a pack of wild dogs, saying this contradicted the statement she gave immediately after the shooting. Now, Charisse, which is which, we can smell a lie cooking from a mile away. Natania believes that Charisse definitely must have been paid off, and many other witnesses as well.
That is the only thing I can attribute to Shine's mentality of fall guy. She told a lie on the stand that she fell on top of Puffy when the shooting was taking place, and there's no way he could have been shooting, for which she was impeached immediately. Everybody Every cop, everybody said that is an unequivocal lie.
And the claims are not subsiding. She claims that over 300 people were interrogated in relation to the shootings at the club, but none of them have been actively calling out the celebrities all these years. 300 people? Wake up, people. There's definitely some malicious activity going down in the shadows.
They produced that witnesses. You'll hear on the POFR, they interviewed 350 people. How on earth am I the only person still speaking 25 years later? Where's the 350 people? 350 people were interviewed and said they saw him with a gun and fire a gun. Where are they? Has nobody asked them?
The only other witness who said Mr. Combs had a gun later softened her testimony to say only that she saw him holding a black object. Ms. Reuben said that on that night of December 27, 1999.
All in all, it is clear that something very sinister is going on in Hollywood, and it has been going on since the 90s. Sess, where are we headed if it is actually proven that these huge top celebrities are basically above the law because of their elite statuses? And the questions keep piling up day by day. So what do you guys think? Did JLo know about Diddy's shady ways? Did she turn a blind eye on her lover's controversial lifestyle? Drop your comments down in the comments section and stay tuned for our next video, where we shall be exposing P. Diddy and Meek Mill's alleged raunchy relationship.